So tonight's story is about making sure you look behind you before you drive.
2 and 2.
So she's driving down the highway and she's the only one on the road, but then when she looks in the rearview mirror, she notices that there's a car tailgating behind her. And it starts flashing its brights, and it starts following her as she switches from lane to lane. And so she starts panicking, thinking that this car is getting closer and closer. So it speeds up and follows behind her. So she takes the next exit home, and she thinks that her only escape is to just get home and rush inside. So she's driving, but she notices that every time she looks in the rearview mirror, it flashes its brights at her. When she finally gets home, she runs outside to get into her house. But then the car pulls up behind her and screams and follows. Get in the house, lock it, and call 911. And she runs inside, closes the door, and calls 911. The guy is locked out inside of her house. When the cops come, they realize that the guy that was warning her actually got stabbed. That guy was trying to save her life. Every time he flashes brights, the killer behind her in the back seat cowered because he didn't want to be spotted. So each time the driver behind her flashes brights, he hid. So instead of taking her life, he took the guy trying to save him. So make sure you look behind you before you drive.
That was good. I saw one from the butt side. The whole time I knew it was happening, I was like, So tonight's story is a folk tale that is told in Central American countries. And it starts off with this little girl and this little boy who they move into this eerie, really haunted house. And the little girl, she's sleeping in her room one night and she sees this like little boy coming out of her closet, and she's not sure if it's like it looks like a little boy, but it's almost like a Benjamin Button type thing. Like he's
Wait. Imagining a little gremlin running around.
Okay. So the little girl, she sees this like gremlin okay. I'm getting possessed, basically. Okay, so the little girl, she sees this like
Yeah, we got it.
So the next day she tells her brother what she saw, how it was this creepy looking thing, and he's like, you're just, it was all in your head. And then their mom makes them go clean out the attic, and they find this book, and it has like a whole bunch of stories from like Central American folk tales. And one of them, it says that this like little midget, he goes up to your room when you're sleeping, and he braids some like little braid behind your hair. Guys, this is true, you're laughing. It's true. So he braids a little braid, and then if you untie that braid, like sooner or later, a few days after it happens, you'll die. And you don't know what way you'll die. But so the little girl, she kind of freaks out, but she doesn't care. Her brother and her are like, whatever, it's just a story, it's just a folk tale. And she goes back to bed, and the next day she wakes up with a braid in her hair. So she goes up to her brother and she asks him, like, she's like freaking out. She's like, you're just playing a trick on me. He's like, no, I promise, it wasn't me. He's like, I swear I didn't do it. And he's like, it probably does exist, this gremlin thing. And then she was like, she just doesn't believe him. She's just like, whatever. So she goes back to her room, and days pass. She doesn't, think of it, but she is a little scared, so she leaves the braid behind her hair. But then one day she's like, what, this is stupid. Like, this doesn't exist. I should just probably take it off. Like, I'm just gonna untie it. She, it's really like hard because it's almost like a knot, and she unties it from her hair, and then when she goes back to bed, and then when she's sleeping, this little thing like crawls up to her, and she freaks out, and she like sees it goes under her sheets, and then it stabs her, and then she just is dead.
You built that up really good, but the ending was horrible.
But you guys are laughing right now. But if you wake up with a little braid in your hair, don't untie it.
Isn't that Cipitio? That's the name, Cipitio.
So Cipitio.
Cipitio.
So who's next?